Welcome to the Morrow Marriage podcast, guys. And today I want to bring up one that's going to trigger you. They hate you. Ooh.
Ooh,
Do you know anything about that?
I might know a thing or two. I hated you.
You did.
I hated you. I've been saying this for a while now. I kept it secret for a long time, but I would wish him dead often. And I considered smothering him with a pillow a few times. I say this and I'm almost laughing when I say it. It's not funny. When you are in a position where you have to think about that because it seems safer to smother your spouse than it does to stay with him, it's not a good situation. And I'm not laughing because it's funny, because it absolutely isn't funny. I don't know what kind of response that is, because it wasn't funny at the time.
That's where we're going with this episode. If you're getting tremendous value from this podcast, please leave a 5-star review. What better way to lead the world than to share your experience and why you're learning from us? Okay. A lot of you are dealing with, you guys are partners. Sorry, you guys aren't partners, you're enemies. Okay. There is so much contempt that, when we talk about intimacy, there's a repulsed feeling, a grossed out look that you get when you make a move. This is both sides, guys. Lots of women are messaging this stuff too. And a lot of that is the contempt, or I dare say the hate. Okay. And a lot of people don't understand. So this question is coming specifically because, or this title, sorry, specifically becoming a subject for the podcast today, because people want to know, like, how can we laugh about it? So many of you are drawn to us because of what our story was and how bad it was, the depths of hell, all the emotional, physical, sexual abuse, all the shitstorm.
How can we laugh about it? Is that what this is about?
Yeah, well,
it's crazy.
It was sort of a half question and a statement on a phone call this morning. I took a couple of calls because you were out doing your bar class and stuff, and so I just connected with a few people that were trying. Because appointments been pretty hard to organize with me lately, but it was sort of like a question, like, and a statement. Like, it was like, well, how can you, like, you and your wife, and then he was like, can you, like, was it like because of the business? Was it because of the, like, so he started to ask the question about how we look. And then when he started to go back to, like, was it because of the COVID, losing the business? He thought that was when everything went to shit because we were spending all this time together. And then he kind of related it back to, like,
which is funny because that's the year we saved our marriage.
I had to, actually, I don't even think I got to tell him that part. He was so intrigued by the story. But in any case, so then it kind of trickled into, but you guys look so happy. Yeah,
we are.
Yeah. So I wanted to give this really simple lesson for you guys today. When you decide that you want to rise up, this is something that I wish that we would have done so much sooner. If you could just laugh at yourself more than feel the hate coming at you. Okay. What I mean by that is, just think of Chris Farley. He used to make fun of himself for being overweight. Think of Eminem. I lived in a trailer park. You know, if you already don't care, that's just not you, and you just laugh about it. I mean, we do this everywhere we go. Everywhere we go, I'll be like, if Ryan was here, shit.
We make fun of Ryan all the time.
We make fun of Ryan all the time. In fact, the other day I was driving, and I don't remember what it was about, and I said, "Fuck Ryan" or something like that, meaning, like, implying, like, what would Ryan do?
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, well, at least Ryan doesn't have chickens. And then I said, oh, wait, it's because Ryan doesn't have a wife.
That's right. And see, by the way, that's just so you know, that kind of statement right there for Ryan would have triggered me.
Maybe he would have driven right off a bridge, which at the time I was hoping for.
Or right through the chicken coop.
Oh my gosh.
Because I would have been like, what do you mean my wife? Like, but I'm cast now, right? But I can see exactly what Ryan would have done. And that's funny. So it's not that we're laughing when we talk about what you're going through. This is such an exciting place to be, where it is funny. It just is.
We have to make it into a joke.
Well, because we also can't even believe.
I can't believe that that's our story. When sometimes I'll talk to a woman, very infrequently is it as bad as we are, but sometimes I'll talk to a woman, and I wouldn't say it gets me really triggered. Sometimes I'll get a little bit triggered, but I definitely get emotional. Sometimes it'll bring me to tears. Usually it'll be a message on Instagram or something that'll bring me to tears, and it'll just hit me. Every once in a while, I will get that more triggered feeling where my heart will race and I'll, get a little bit flooded. But most of the time, it just hits me emotionally. But it's very infrequent that there's a situation that's as bad as ours was. And so if I'm not pulled back into that place, it's almost like I can't even remember how bad it was. And so when we talk about it, because we've brought so much emotion, humor, emotion, and positive emotion into it because of where we are, we can laugh. We can make fun of it. We're in no way making fun of your situation that you're still in, but we hope and we pray that when you get to where we are, you can look back and look at what assholes you used to be too. Because it's a lot more fun to look back and laugh at it than it is to look back and sit in that pain, which when someone messages me and I feel it, I feel pain. I feel pain for that woman. I feel pain sometimes even in myself because it reminds me, and I can't believe that that's where we were. But then that's why we do what we do. That's why I love hearing those stories, not because I love that they're going through that, but I know that you don't have to stay there because I was there. And look what we have now. I talked to a woman the other day, honey, and I think I told you this. She just left a 9-year relationship. And
oh yeah, great story.
Yes. And so we met very randomly. It turns out we have some mutual friends. We added each other on Facebook. We met through a business thing. It was actually through Canadian car insurance of all things. And so we added each other on Facebook and Instagram because one thing led to another. She looked up who we were when she was looking up the insurance and wanted to have a conversation. And then we added each other on Facebook. And she said, there's no way that God would bring me to this and see you two exactly what I want. She said, I refuse to believe that he has put you two in front of me to then tell me that I can't have that.
Receive that.
And I said, amen. I believe that. So even though it hurts me when I hear these stories, it makes me feel so good knowing that we have the tools to bring you out of it.
All right, now, babe? Yeah, exactly, baby. Now, I want to caution you, before you just start laughing at yourself, you have to think about this a little bit more simply first, So understanding your partner, they hate you. That's the whole point. So you just laughing about yourself when you haven't really made any changes would be an obvious, like be prepared. You're on a journey now and there's going to be some challenges because there's going to be a lack of trust. Okay. But what we've learned a lot, especially with the men in the program, when I'm teaching you to stat respond, and what I'll do is, and I'll get you to acknowledge. So if you guys think about validation or being empathetic, I can understand where you're coming from. Or, wow, I really understand why that made you feel that way. Thank you for sharing. There's a validation side, but you can also say, holy shit, I was such a douche. Let me do a do-over. And that is like letting her have her validation, especially if you tie this in together. And then if you just use a funny word like douche. I mean, when the first time we said douche, you just burst out laughing.
Prick is the one that.
Oh, prick
is your word.
Yeah. So what a prick. I like you.
Still makes me laugh.
So if you use these kinds of words
on yourself, by the way.
Yeah, on yourself.
It's not funny if he calls another person a prick, like actually, which he doesn't do anymore.
I do that with Riddick.
He'll do it with our 3-year-old, not in front of the 3-year-old or the dog.
Like Riddick wouldn't let me come give you like touch you this morning, give you a hug or something, and he was just like trying to hold your arm, pull it away, and he's like, my mama. Yeah. My mama. She's like, no, it's my husband. And I'm like, oh, I'll kill you. Prick.
You didn't say that this morning.
No, but that was just like
it would be an example.
An example of when
he doesn't say it in front of our 3-year-old.
Yeah,
you guys,
I'm not
calm down.
I'm not calling him a prick. Everybody calm down. That'd be an example of why I would use that.
You'll do it
right?
with the dog though.
I do it with Finn all the time.
And it makes me laugh, even though Finn is definitely not a prick.
So that's it's a better way to start. But here again, unless you're actually making changes and you're doing something different, then it doesn't make much sense to just call yourself a douche when the person hates you. They're going to be like, yeah, you're more than a fucking douche. In fact,
you have to really wait until you're actually not a douche.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. You have to actually not be an asshole anymore,
Because then you can laugh at the small pieces of asshole that comes back and call yourself an asshole.
Now, as you get more proud and that, I mean, of yourself, right? Okay, as you truly believe and you understand, I dare say you better be checked with reality and so on and so forth, the tools to assess. But as you start to feel this way, super confident in the new you, letting go, you don't have to change your name like I did, but letting go of the old you, and you know where you're going. You don't backpedal the same way. You take big strides forward and you don't take those 2 steps back every time. When that starts to happen, your partner might still not trust you. They might even still be mean. We see that lots of times. Okay. And
I mean, I was still mean.
We see lots of times. And,
I got meaner, actually, the more space he gave me.
We see it lots of times. And,
he has threats. He beats himself sometimes.
But here's the thing. When you start to really, truly believe that, that's when you do laugh about the old. I think when I started to do this and make fun of Ryan, you were a lot further along still, actually, but you could try this sooner. But I would pretend I would talk about Ryan, and I'd do like the whole action of like opening the oven, putting my head in and closing the oven, or but I'd talk about Ryan with that. Right. So in essence, symbolizing that guy's gone and still having fun and laughing about myself. And now there is another word of caution. That doesn't mean that it's not going to hurt her or him. It doesn't mean they're not going to feel triggered. It's because you think it's funny. That's why I think it's really important to understand what I said a moment ago. Is you have to truly believe that those characteristics are gone. For example, it's not about not yelling, because that's normal. You're over here now. So there's the yelling over here. And then there's the not yelling. Okay, now you're normal. You can go ahead and laugh all you want, but if you're still shutting down, you're still hiding and filtering who you are, you're still afraid of what your partner's reaction is going to be, whether they're softening from the hate or not, then you're not over here where you're positive and able to laugh. It's just not authentic. And if you're not authentic, you're going to make them hate you again because they're going to think it's the same person. Does that make sense? Wait, what people? Never mind 6 p.m. Look at this one here. She's yawning already.
It's not even 2 p.m.
Yeah. All right. That is kind of in a nutshell, the best way to think about it. You have to get yourself in a position. If they're in absolute contempt, you have to get yourself into a. Thanks for listening. You have to get yourself into a position where you're not afraid of their pain. That's all that anger is. That disgust that they feel is for someone that you no longer want to be. And then you just don't do anything that would be like that. Now, I know it sounds easier said than done, like this guy who didn't join the program that I was talking about before. He wants to read the book. You must get yourself past it. Your wife hates you. Your husband hates you. Well, that sucks. I get it. We've all been there. Well, I mean, I didn't hate you.
But you were
in those moments I did, though. Oh, sure. That's a bad.
You had a lot of
bullshit.
hate.
Yeah.
You had you'd say you loved me, but I don't think you knew what that meant.
Yeah, so that we might as well call that hate with the way I treat you. Yeah. treated. Yeah, sorry.
It's been years.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Super, super simple, but easier said than done, like most of the things that you have to learn. But wrap your head around this, listen to it a few times, and start getting yourself to a position where you can laugh more, because it is fucking funny to laugh about who you used to be.
Yes.
It is. If you don't believe me, rich people laugh about the times they were broke now too. They don't just sit there and talk sadly and depressed and feel shitty about living in a trailer park. So you can understand. We get it. It's super powerful in changing your mindset to move you forward. Okay?
And it's okay to live in a trailer park, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
I know.
People that have gone from here to here.
You were talking about Eminem.
Yeah. Eminem and Andy Elliott and there's a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Almost everybody that I follow that makes money came from nothing.
So if you do live in a trailer park, then you can also be just like these guys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we lost.
Happy New Year.
Yeah. Well, Happy New Year. This is like weeks later.
Well, Happy New Year anyway.
Happy New Year. See you guys.
Bye.